Hello, BookTube. Well, as you can see, I have a guest. This is my friend Sam, well known to those of you who watch this channel. We thought we'd make a couple of videos before we settle down to talk books all night long. And one of those videos is mail. We're on a bit of a mail streak on this channel. The streak isn't, will the books be good? The streak is, will the books set Steve off on a foam-flecked rant that he cannot upload, and therefore be a complete waste of time? And so far, the books have not been that way. They have not been that way.
Extraordinary.
They have not been 900-pound lumberjacks going well out of their way to inform me that they are men. There hasn't been anything like that, so I've been able to just keep on with the trend. I shouldn't have mentioned lumberjacks. That could be our new Nobel laureate. He could be in this stack, couldn't he? That would start a rant, that's for sure. Well, we've only got a few packages, so let's see what we have here and hope for the best. I imagine all of these are going to be 2024 releases. Oh, well, no. No, this is a December release. Okay, this is the finished copy of something we've already seen. You won't have to worry about it. It's genre fiction. This is Daughter of Ashes by Ilaria Tutti, translated from the Italian by Eken Oklap. I kind of wish my name were Eken Oklap.
Two Ks.
Steve Donoghue.
Yeah.
It's John Smith in Donegal.
Yeah.
It's as boring as it gets. So this is about Superintendent Teresa Battaglia, a trailblazing criminal detective and an unapologetically gruff everywoman protagonist who's proven herself a standout in the detective genre over the course of Ilaria Tutti's popular series of translated Italian literary thrillers. Okay, so she's on leave and recovering from a recent brush with death. Coincidentally, that is also why Sam is here. A recent brush with death.
Look who blurbed it.
Oh, the Wall Street Journal blurbed this. But
not me.
No, it had to be some galley slave. It couldn't be this. I mean, honestly, I'm never going to forget the one time that I was cheering from the rooftops because you had agreed to review a science fiction book. What was it? The Abominable by Dan Simmons, right? It was wasn't that it? It was The Abominable by Dan Simmons. And I thought, yes. And then I read the book and thought, no, no. At the end of the book, Dan Simmons resorts to the cheesiest conclusion in the world, which confirms every thought you have about science fiction. I thought, no, he can do better work than this. Try him again. Or you also reviewed the A Library of America 2-volume science fiction thing.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. That review was hilarious. It was like somebody trying to piece together what Sanskrit means. Although you were quite right in noticing that a couple of stories in those volumes were much better than a couple of other stories.
My question here is it possible to be apologetically gruff?
Yeah, I know. She's unapologetically gruff. Yeah, I also know she's a criminal detective.
She's a criminal detective.
So I guess we're specifying quite a bit here.
Yeah.
But you could still do science fiction genre. This is mystery, but you could do genre.
Sure.
Library of America is doing Joanna Russ.
Oh, that's right.
I'd pay good money to see a review, to see you grapple with Joanna Russ. That would be a lot of fun.
Let's see the money.
That was metaphorical. I think I'm going to see your column whether I pay for it or not. I'm hoping that I will. All right, so we've got a murder mystery for December. So my first prediction was wrong. Oh, okay. The next one is for the spring of 2024. So April, when the mean Boston temperature will be 98 degrees. This is by Stefanos Geroulanos. Again, I wish I were called Stefanos Geroulanos. This is the invention of prehistory, empire, violence, and our obsession with human origins. There are a whole bunch of Donegal residents killing a mammoth. Poor mammoth is trapped, and they're killing it. I think this is probably not an advanced copy is not going to tell me, but I think this is a very old painting. I think that's a 100-year-old painting. We have no sheet here, but that one we've got only blurbs on the back. Are you going to tell me anything? There we go. Books about the origins of humanity dominate bestseller lists.
Well, one of them does.
Okay.
There's
That's
one
kind of wishful.
that everyone knows about.
While major newspapers present breathless accounts of new archaeological findings and speculation about what those findings might tell us about ourselves, we are obsessed with prehistory, and in this respect, our current era is no different from any other in the last 300 years.
For 300 years, mankind has been obsessed with prehistory.
Is the person who wrote this pub sheet thinking that people in Gibbon's day were obsessed with prehistory?
Jacket copy is good.
In this coruscating history of prehistory, the pub sheet writer, the copywriter, has uncorked a book reviewer word. That's one of ours. You don't get to use that.
Watch it.
What's next? Liminal? In this coruscating history of prehistory, the author moves from Rousseau's state of nature and romantic notions of virtuous German barbarians to theories about Neanderthals, killer apes, and a matriarchal paradise where women ruled. Yes, women rule in a matriarchy. Yet, as he shows, such ideas became, for the most part, the ideological foundations of repressive regimes and globe-spanning empires. Accounts of prehistory tell us more about the moment when they are proposed than about the deep past. And if we hope to start improving our future, we'd be better off setting aside the search for how it all started. A very curious thread running through so many books that I get in 2024. I wonder if it's going to be a theme in 2024, which is blatant anti-intellectualism. What does that description say? I'm sure that description is at least dovetails with the book. Half the time the author sees these things. What does that description say? Better not to ask. Better not to care about what we can know about prehistory. Is this scene actually true? Did any of these people wear clothes? And were any of these clothes done with stitching? And if so, what implements? How do we know that? When did it happen? Why did it happen? Who did it?
The entire jacket copy publicity copy has a subtext. Is that subtext Sapiens, or is it Jared Diamond, or is it? We're supposed to know what it's referring to.
I think it's Sapiens.
It's comparing this book to something, but it doesn't want to say what it's comparing it to.
No, I bet it's Sapiens.
It must be Sapiens.
The Stefanos Geroulanos is the director of the Remarque Institute and a professor of history at New York University. Okay, and he lives in New York. All right, the invention of prehistory. No, actually, what to expect from it? Is it going to be about prehistory? It sounds like the author doesn't like the idea of prehistory. Anyway, this next one's got some weight to it. This could be a finished copy. Oh, goodness, it's a big thing, but it's not a finished copy. It's an advanced copy. Oh, look at that, right up your alley. Maybe not. This comes out in May. This is The Year of the Locust by Terry Hayes, who did I Am Pilgrim.
Remember I Am Pilgrim?
I know a lot of you read I Am Pilgrim. I liked it. Look at the size of this thing, though. This is gigantic. Does it say how many pages? It doesn't say on the book. Wow, almost 800 pages. It says that it calls itself a thriller. You don't often see thrillers at 800 pages. So this comes out in May. And
Why are you saying May?
Oh, yes, I'm not. I shouldn't be saying May. This comes out in February.
It's set in May.
In May of 2014, the author, who until then was best known as the screenwriter for such classics as Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior, and Dead Calm, with Billy Zane.
The classic Dead Calm?
The classic Dead Calm. Although, Dead Calm is quite good.
Yeah?
It is quite good. There's one scene in particular, I mean, the ending is ridiculous, but one scene in particular where Sam Neill, they're on a boat, they take in a guy they find on a spar on the open ocean, he turns out to be a homicidal maniac, and at one point, he gets Sam Neill off the boat, just into the water, and the scene is Sam Neill watching his own boat float away, under the control of the bad guy, and it's well done, you will feel it. Well, you won't, because you're never going to watch it. Let's see here. And then he took the world by storm when he released his novel I Am Pilgrim, which was called Best Book of 2014, or appeared on the Best of 2014 lists for the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, Entertainment Weekly, Houston Chronicle, Milwaukee Sentinel Journal, Chattanooga, Suspense Magazine, Huffington Post, Amazon, Pop Sugar, Bolo Books. tell me, Sam, when it comes to year-end best books lists, is there any omission in doing there? Is it any year-end best book list that should be the only one you consult?
Were you doing it in 2014?
I was.
Ah.
Absolutely, yes. I've been doing it forever. Now, after 10 long years of waiting, readers will finally be treated to Hayes' second thriller, Year of the Locust, an epic spy thriller odyssey with a Michael Crichton-esque touch that's exciting, scary, and at times disturbing and upsetting, emotional, and beyond twisty. It's the future of the genre. I like how they say Michael Crichton-esque, even though he's still putting out books. He's still working really hard. Why the long wait for the book that was a reader and reviewer favorite and became a celebrity accessory with fans as diverse as Jimmy Fallon, Milo Ventimiglia, Rachel Ray, Candy Spelling, politicians Hillary Clinton, Newt Gingrich, and author David Baldacci, Brad Thor and Kate White, Jackie Collins, Lisa Scottolini, Jack Carr, soap opera star Ian Buchanan, journalist Armin Katanian, Lee Woodruff, Mike Lupica, Monica Lewinsky, who tweets about it to this day.
But this is like the AI writing this publicity thing just broke and just started spitting out random names.
I think it did break.
Candy
Yes.
Spelling?
Candy Spelling. It was Newt Gingrich that did it for me. Yeah. This book was scheduled to come out in 2015 on the 1-year anniversary of his first book, I Am Pilgrim, but he never finished it. I don't know what kind of psychological odyssey we're on with this pub sheet. I've never read a pub sheet like this before. That had an exclamation point. He never finished it. It had an exclamation point. As you dig the grave and spade the author behind it.
Again, something being implied here, but not being stated.
This is a mail haul.
Are we supposed to know about some STD that he got?
It took him 5 years to write I Am Pilgrim, so maybe he's just not the kind of author that can write a book per year. Well, okay, but you're also telling us he's not the kind of author who can fulfill a contract when he has signed said contract. Well, I'm not sure that this paragraph belongs here. But then the 5-year mark came and went, and still no book.
It's his editor who's been waiting for years. And
sharpening the knives.
Yeah.
Although, the maybe not the kind of author who can write one book a year, crack. On behalf of Anthony Trollope, I take offense to that. Okay? You're right. He wrote The Prime Minister in a year. And it's studied in school. But anyway. All right, so still no book. That's where we're at in this psychological odyssey. There were false alarms along the way when from time to time overeager publishers around the world would put the Year of the Locust on their schedule and announce it to online retailers, causing a frenzy over a book that was not yet finished. So has he bounced around from publishers?
Yeah. Are publishers just claiming it in the hopes that if they just said we're publishing it, he would have to publish it with
If
them?
the book is half as gripping as the publisher.
Yes, extraordinary.
Fast forward to 2020. It's now 2024. But fast forward to 2020. So we're not fast forwarding far or at great speed. We're only at 2020.
Yeah.
The Hayeses are about to become empty nesters and are considering moving from Brisbane, Australia, to someplace in Europe.
This is Stephen Hayes and his wife, I presume.
I guess it is, yeah. On one such trip to Lisbon, Portugal, thanks for the clarification, in March of 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic began to snowball.
Now there's 6 pages about what the COVID-19 pandemic was.
Okay, but it what? All right, never mind. All right, it's just like weirdly locating that to Lisbon. It's not Lisbon's fault. Let's see here. It was that fateful week when all the dominoes fell. COVID-19 began to snowball in a week in Lisbon? When all the dominoes fell, that's not what you want, though, right? You're not talking about
No.
It's a chain reaction. It's not that they all tip over. Well, anyway, and the world rushed to take it seriously. Okay. Australia closed their borders, even to residents, leaving Terry stranded in Portugal by himself for 2+ years.
That's interesting.
It's interesting, yeah. I'm kind of curious what world it's taking place on. But I'm pretty sure that no Australian residents were banned from re-entry to the country for 2 years.
Yeah.
Maybe Well, anyway, he was finally able to reconstruct the story of the Year of the Locust to his liking and make a significant dent in finishing this long-awaited novel. Reconstruct the story? What does that mean? Did you forget the story? Did you not write the story? Was there not drafts? Still, it took 3 more years, but finally the entire book is now in to famed editor and publisher Emily Bestler, and set to publish in February 2024. Well, this isn't a figment of imagination. This is real. So what have we got here?
His editor's surname is really Bestseller?
It's Emily Bestler. Bestseller. Yeah, I'd kind of want that if I were in the job. Okay, it's 10th anniversary, senior vice president, she's senior vice president. What about, oh, here we go, book synopsis. If, like Cain, you're denied access area spy for the CIA, then boundaries have no meaning. Your function is to go in, do whatever's required, and get out again, by whatever means necessary. You know when to run, when to hide, and when to shoot. But some places don't play by the rules. Some places are too dangerous, even for a man of Cain's experience. The Badlands, where the borders of Pakistan, Iran, and Afghanistan meet, are such a place where violence is the only way to survive. You have been to that area, and so have I. You did not partake of violence, and neither did I.
I didn't go to Balochistan, that part of Pakistan.
Cain travels there to exfiltrate.
Yeah, there's always exfiltration.
That's kind of nice. A man with vital information for the safety of the West. Can't airdrop him a cell phone. But instead of meeting, he meets an adversary who will take the world to the brink of extinction. A frightening, clever, vicious man with blood on his hands and vengeance in his heart. Okay. Well. All right. So
I can see why it would take you 10 years to think of a premise like that.
Oh, that's a hefty thing. It's I don't think I'm being unfair to say that most thrillers can't support this length. That's why they don't typically happen at this length. Because, the whole idea of a thriller is breakneck scene changes, breakneck pacing, always feeling like you're right on the edge of the whole plot exploding, and it's hard to do that for 800 pages. Can you think?
When they say it's Michael Crichton-esque, does that mean it has a lot of, science in it, or
yeah, I don't know.
Archaeology or something?
Or it could be just lots of location changes.
Because it's not a Clancy-esque thing, so it doesn't have sort of politics.
Well, I really liked... Well, in that location, it can't help but have politics of some kind.
That's what it sounds like to
me. I really liked
I
Am Pilgrim. I think a lot of you did too, so I will definitely be up for it. I don't know what that was, but it's here now anyway. It exists in the real world. So... and then we have this last one here, and we'll be done.
Oh my god!
Okay, this one comes out in March. This is from the great folks at Princeton University Press. I love them anyway. I love, for instance, their history list, and every year they are guaranteed to come out with 4 or 5 biographies that are really worth your time. But in 2023, I seem to have wormed my way onto their nerd science list, because there's nothing from the nerd science corner of Princeton that I don't get anymore. Nothing. And this definitely counts. This is by Nicholas Money, and it's called Molds, Mushrooms, and Medicines, Our Lifelong Relationship with Fungi. Shall we?
When you open this, I swear I thought it said Molds, Mushrooms, and Medicis.
Oh, that would be
oh
so
wow,
awesome.
this is for Steve. A Renaissance history of mold.
Oh, really? That'd be awesome. What did the Medici, what did the trained professionals at the Medici court use for medicine? Did they use molds and fungi for any kind of medicine? Or what about the viniculturists and horticulturists who were paid by them? Whole career, you could train up your son to take your spot when you were over. You had to know a lot about molds and fungus. We could go on for an hour about it.
That's what I thought it was.
That's what this evening is for. You don't need to worry about it. The hidden role of fungi inside and all around us. From beneficial yeasts that aid digestion to toxic molds that cause disease. I believe, considering the place next door, that we're going to get heaping helpings of both tonight. It'll be super heated. They'll be nice and hot. The heat is supposed to distract you from what you're shoving in your pie hole. We are constantly navigating a world filled with fungi. And this book explores the amazing ways fungi interact with our bodies, showing how our health and well-being depend on an immense ecosystem of yeasts and molds inside and all around us.
It's very cheerful sounding. I thought that fungi were supposed to be the cause of our next sort of epidemics.
Yeah, all of the savants are saying, don't look to viruses, look to fungi.
Because they have no treatment for them.
I wonder if Nicholas Money deals with that in this book. Fungi on the skin, spores in the lungs, opportunists in the brain, yeast in the gut, medicines in fungi, toxins in mushrooms and mold, using mushrooms to treat depression, and the global microbiome. Well, these things can be tough to review. You don't really do any reviewing of this sort of a thing. It can be tough to do because...
Never reviewed a book on mold.
Well, you've reviewed some moldy books. That's not the same. It's metaphorical. I mean, this is a subject. This is an info dump. But whether or not it's reviewable will entirely depend on whether or not the author brings more to it than that. I have no idea. Who is Edward Money when he's at home? Do we know? Professor of biology at Miami University in Ohio, and the author of many books, including The Rise of Yeast. Okay, so he's got form. He knows how to write about yeast. I have heard an urban rumor, I don't know if it's true, that every year the officials at Miami University in Ohio have to deal with a long line of undergraduates who didn't get the Ohio part. They didn't realize the Ohio part. So they show up in tank tops and board shorts and they're ready for an Ohio winter. They did not know. I don't believe that. But then again, I know for sure that Australian airports have a whole line dealing with people who think they went to Austria and vice versa. Those are real. That happens every year. So, but anyway, that's our mail haul. A little bit of a weird ride there. We've got something about molds and mushrooms. We've got the follow-up to I Am Pilgrim, The Year of the Locust. That's going to be something. We have the invention of prehistory, in which the author seems to say, why bother? And finally, Daughter of Ashes, in the Finnish copy, which is an Italian murder mystery. So there you go. Nothing in your wheelhouse.
But interesting books nonetheless.
So we'll wrap this up. I think I want to twist one more video out of you, and then we'll be done. Then it'll be time for wine and food. But I'll wrap this up now. I will see you later. Thank you, BookTube.